Colony Defence is a minimalistic tower defence game that aims to remove all the complexity and bloatedness that tower defence games have become, at least in the eyes of the developer. This is minimalistic both in design and aesthetic, and as you can see, every level on the screen is a single line that loops itself around and about and double backs on itself to try and create opportunities for you to logically place towers in to make the maximum damage with what you've got available. You'll gain rings or currency over time that you can then buy one of the 5 towers to place down in the game. And there's only 5 tower types, and they're all introduced straight up front. The green gun is just like a shooty gun. The red laser can bow out a laser and it will attack way beyond its initial area of influence. The blue missiles have got a really wide radius, but they're quite slow to attack, although powerful when they land. The yellow slow down sphere initially feels like it's not going to be very useful, but becomes useful in later levels, where the levels get shorter and actually the enemies get much faster, so you have to position them in more than I thought I was going to. And then last but not least, the most expensive tower is the purple one, which is like a chisel, but it's got a very small radius and takes a lot of investment of your rings to upgrade it and make it really, really powerful. All towers can be upgraded multiple times, but there's a delay as they kind of get upgraded and they can't fire whilst they're being upgraded. And the way how you can speed that up, but also unlock a big giant missile that will kind of clear the area, is by collecting nanites. You do this by triggering the next wave early, and you'll see there's a timer bar kind of going out across the bottom of the screen, and so long as you trigger the next wave before that reaches the screen edge, you will get a nanite. A nanite can be used to speed up an upgrade, but it can also be used to speed up selling a tower too, which you can also do, and it gives you back some money or rings for you to then spend elsewhere. The big key with nanites though, and it becomes quite crucial, particularly late game, is that you need to get to at least 10 nanites to then fire off your special death missile that will come down with a very long lag time, smash into the wherever you've pointed it, and will ripple out a kind of nuclear blast, killing most of the enemies at least immediately in its vicinity. Knowing when to trigger that is really, really crucial, because some enemies will just wipe your HP out entirely because you're never given very much to play with. The gameplay in Colony Defence is actually really, really tight, and whilst it doesn't really look like much, and I was disappointed in the fact that you only get 5 tower types and nothing ever really expands beyond level 1, you're given all of the playing pieces of what you need to do with the game, and then it just keeps giving you new maps and more tankier enemies to try and deal with. At least I was entertained and suitably challenged as I went up the different worlds. I think there was 8 or 9 worlds, and each one has 9 levels inside them. It just gets more tankier and harder, and you have to really think strategically about where you're placing your towers, because you've only got those 5 tricks up your sleeve, and you need to place the towers for maximum effect. And that's why I say this becomes more like a logic puzzle rather than a strategy game, because you're quite limited in what you can and can't do, and so you need to make the best of your tools. A couple of things that I will say though is the music is really, really dull, and so I muted it. It also has a tonal problem. There's a voiceover from a very chirpy lady that is like, new enemy wave, Pepper Games, which is like the dev, and every time you tower upgraded, it's really cute, and it doesn't match any of the rest of the aesthetic whatsoever, but it did make me chuckle until I also muted her. So if you enjoy tower defense games, I think this is fun. It's quite cheap, it doesn't do anything new, but what it does do is balance quite nicely the amount of resources that you're given to make a difference versus being able to scrape across the line. And a lot of levels, particularly in the second half of the game, you really do just scrape over the line so long as you've done things well. And that kind of tension goes quite a long way in a game that's got limited mechanics. So thumbs up, definitely not for anyone, but if you're a tower defense game lover, although this doesn't do anything new per se, it is still enjoyable. Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a completely independent media outlet supported by people like you. The goal is to create the best possible content that cultivates a richer indie scene for games as well as music and entertainment. To find out more and to get involved, visit patreon.com/higherplane-network. Your support makes all the difference, and in return you'll gain access to bonus content and downloads. Thank you for watching.